All right, so this is a continuation of last week's video, and we're going to emphasize a little bit more on the upper body and shoulders and the anterior core, and then we're going to move to the lower body at some point during it. So the first thing you're going to notice is that Jenna's got her entire back against the wall. She has a bend in her knees. Okay, and first thing we want to do is just warm up the diaphragm and move the rib cage a little bit. So all you're going to do is reach your arms out to the opposite side of the room. Okay, and first let's just play with your scapula, so the shoulder bones. So on an inhale, you can reach your hands further forward, and then on an exhale, you can pull them back. Okay, and just do that a couple of times, and you as the viewer can do this with Jenna or just according to your own breath. Okay, and as a general rule of thumb for today's video, we'll probably only do 4 repetitions of things, but if you're feeling more adventurous or you want a bigger challenge, you can do more like 6 or 8 reps. Okay, I want you to keep your shoulder blades on the wall now. So this is a shoulder blade retraction. And then on an inhale, Jenna's going to take her arms up, kind of like she's reaching overhead. All right, and then on an exhale, she'll bring them back down. Okay, now a couple of things to note for you at home is that Jenna has the tissue quality to keep her biceps relatively close to her ears. So if you're somebody with a shoulder impingement or you know that you have limited range of motion over your head, take your arms wider when you go up so that you're going more like the letter Y. Okay, and that's going to make more space at the front of the clavicle joint, and it won't bother your neck quite as much. Okay, so as she's going into shoulder flexion, which is overhead, next we're going to have you add the rib cage. So as her arms go up, she's actually going to try and lift her rib cage off of the wall and move her sternum or that heart plate toward the ceiling. And then as she exhales, the ribs are going to drop closer to the wall and her arms go down. Okay, so you do this a couple of times, and all we're doing is sending a message to the front ribs and the sternum to basically create some motion. Okay, so we want you to start moving. Okay, now the next thing we're going to challenge Jenna with, and you can also do the challenge at home, is if you pause here and now put your entire spine against the wall. Okay, so you might have to go into a posterior tilt of the pelvis. You have your low back pushing into the wall, and now you're going to do the same motion. So arms are going to go up. Okay, you're going to try and keep your low back closer to the wall this time. And the ribs can still move, or if you feel like fixating them down, you can also do that. There is no right or wrong. Main objective here is to keep the lumbar spine on the wall. All right. Good. And then Jenna, whenever you're ready, you can reach your hands to the opposite side. All right. And she's going to come toward a flat back. So she hinges forward at the hip, and she keeps her chest up the entire time, and her head and shoulders are higher than her hips. Okay, if your arms start to fatigue, you take your hands to the fronts of your shins, all right, and you continue to hold, pushing your hands into your shins. All right, and then from here, she's going to forward fold, touch the ground. You want to keep a bend in your knees so that as much of your stomach can touch your thighs as possible. All right, and then from here, Jenna, why don't you grab your calves or put your hands on the wall, doesn't matter. And a couple of times, just straighten your knees slowly and then bend back into them. And so we're tractioning that hamstring right at the sit bone. Okay, and something to think about is your abdominals, your six-pack muscles, is you want them to stay engaged like they're crunching the entire time. Okay, and then on the last fold, you're going to bring your hands back to the floor and walk your hands out to a plank. So now we're going to start to get a little bit more advanced with the movements. Okay, so first thing is like, can you feel your heels press back? Second thing is, can you feel your quads squeeze against your thigh bone? Okay, so you take a breath. Now, take your right knee to the floor. Thanks. You'll bring your right hand to your chest. All right, right arm opens up to a T. and then you're going to reach it all the way forward. All right, and this is your bird dog. So your left heel and your right wrist are reaching in opposite directions the best you can. You're going to take that right arm down, and then let's take the right leg all the way up the wall. Okay. And then you come back to your plank. Let's do the other side. Left knee touches the floor. Left hand's going to go to the chest, out to a T, and all the way forward. And when you're ready, you take that hand down and the leg goes up. Okay, and then we'll move into the plank. You can take another few seconds here. Whenever you're ready, 2 times, again, 2 to 8 reps, just tap the floor with your knees and see if you can make them kiss the ground at the same time. Let's do one more. Right, and this time, keep the knees down, bring your whole body to the floor, and now your head, hips, and heart on the ground. Okay, you can make a pillow under your head. Okay, Jenna's going to bend her knees, flex her ankles, so toes are pointing to the ground. And she's going to start to push her thighs into the floor so that her pelvis lifts up a bit. Okay, so basically you want to feel like the weight of your pelvis or your butt is off the ground and in the air. Okay, now something a little bit more advanced is you can go into a posterior pelvic tilt. Okay, and that's going to be a rounding under of the tailbone. Okay, and then from there, keeping your pelvis lifted, reach your hands toward your knees, pick up your head and arms. All right, and this is like a cobra variation. Now, while we hold this, you're thinking about your breath. Okay, first stage is to be able to breathe comfortably, to let your stomach expand on the inhale, and then on an exhale, kind of vacuum closer to the spine. All right, if you're looking for something more advanced, on an inhale, your stomach widens across the floor, and on the exhale, you pull that navel up closer to the spine, and then you're going to keep it there and keep breathing. Okay, so you're not letting go of that intra-abdominal pressure. All right, and then whenever you're ready, you're going to bring those arms all the way forward, brush them right under your armpits. Okay, do a good knee push-up where butt leads and hips go back and hands reach forward. All right, if your head can touch the floor, let it, but don't force it to touch the floor. All right, and then think about pulling from the tailbone and the small of your back, and I want you to segmentally roll your spine all the way back to your tabletop. All right. Flip your toes under. And then we're going to do a little bit of a quad burner. So Jen is going to take her knees a couple inches off the floor and she holds. Okay. Now when you're in this position, you want to try and get a stretch at your Achilles tendon. So press your heels back as best you can. All right. Now keeping your knees low, push your butt towards your heels. You're going to pause there. Okay. You're still staying connected to your belly muscles. And then keeping the weight back, I want you to straighten the legs. All right, pause, you take a moment. If you can get your heels to the ground, great. If you can't, don't force it. Okay, and then you're going to walk your hands back to your feet. Okay, you're going to let your sit bones go to the wall. You're in a forward fold. And then that same idea with that segmental rolling of the spine, you're going to start to curl yourself up, putting your sacrum, then your low back, and eventually your thoracic spine, shoulder blades, and everything goes onto the wall. All right, so now we're going to go over 3 arm positions. Most advanced is going to be cactus arms. All right, so idea here is to get the wrists to stick on the wall. Okay, if this is challenging for you, you can just take out like T arms. All right, and then a third regression is going to be just A arms. Okay, so let's do the cactus because that's what you have. All right, from here, all I want you to do is start to kind of slide your butt down the wall a little bit, but your wrists don't move. So your wrists actually press up, and then you just start to stand. Do that a couple of times. So again, the idea is to not let the wrists come off the wall. Nice, let's do one more. All right, you come back up to standing. Put your whole spine on the wall. Reach your hands to the opposite side of the room. Okay, she's back toward her flat back position. Hands come to shins. Forward fold, touch the ground. All right, let's walk those hands out to a plank. All right, and you pause for a moment. So this time we'll do the bird dog again. Right knee comes to the floor, and then it's going to be right hand to the chest, out to the side, all the way forward. And now if you want the challenge, the left foot's going to lift off the ground. All right, and then you can bring them both to the floor, take the right leg up the wall. Okay, options here is like you can bend your left knee a little bit more, try to press your right heel higher up and back, and then straighten your left knee. All right, then come to a plank. Let's do the other side. So left knee down, arm comes in, peels out, reaches forward, right foot lifts. Okay, and as the right leg is up, you don't want to let the pelvis spin right, so you're constantly trying to square the hips by turning them left. And you can bring everything down, stretch that left leg up the wall. All right, then we come to a plank. 2 times, kiss the ground with your knees. And then let's bring head, hips, and heart to the ground. All right, you can reach your arms forward if that feels good. Bend your knees, really great way to relax the psoas muscle, hip flexor area, and take some stress off the low back. Do a little windshield wipers with the ankles if it feels good. Nice. You can also add the head motion to this, right? So your head actually starts to roll in the opposite direction of your feet. This can feel good, as long as your forehead is somewhere that it's happy. All right, then pause in the middle. You're going to flex your ankles. And again, get those knees to start pushing into the ground, hips lift up. Okay, you're going to round your tail under a little bit, keeping that low abdomen off the floor. And then you can drag your hands back toward your thighs. Pick up the arms and head. Here we go, cobra. Okay, you're trying to keep your shoulder blades broad. And you'll notice Jenna's keeping her chin looking at her collarbones so that the front and back of her neck is equal in length. All right, and then you can do whichever variation makes the most sense for you to do with your breathing. The idea is, like, can you do this posture without your breathing changing dramatically? I would say that is one of the priorities. Okay, whenever you're ready, hands come forward, under your armpit, push up, and take a quick child's. All right, and when you're in a child's position, all you're thinking about is like, how can I create more length in my spine, a greater sense of ease in my back? All right, and then why don't we roll up so we're in a kneeling position? All right, fantastic. So flip your toes under, and now we'll just do a little bit of hip flexion. So you're going to sit onto your heels and then come up toward hip extension, and then you can change toe positions. And you can do this as many times as you want. I usually encourage people, whichever one causes more discomfort, do that one a little bit more. All right, and then you're nice and tall here, and let's step your right leg forward. Okay, so all we're going to do from here, reach your arms to the opposite side of the room. All right, and start to lean a little bit. Okay, now if you can, take the arch out of your low back by putting your tail under you a little bit. All right, and you might pause here. Okay, Now, if you're able to, you're going to flip your left toes under, and all I want you to do is take your back knee off the floor. All right? You can come up a little higher. All right, and you pause. Nice. Now reach that right arm back. Okay. Now, if your left quad is really starting to burn, you can straighten that left leg as long as the heel stays off the ground. Okay, you're trying to turn your pelvis right. Right. Good. And then let's swim that right arm forward. All right, and just bring the back knee down. So you're in a tall kneeling, and let's change legs. Easy. Great. Same thing. You're going to get your torso weight going over your front thigh. Okay, you pause there. When you're ready to pick up that back knee, you hold, then you can take that left arm back. All right. And as your wrists are reaching further away from each other, can you feel how they're influencing the rib cage and sternum to turn left a little bit? Okay, if that right quad is burning, just straighten it. Good. Then you're going to come down. Good. And bring that leg back. Why don't you grab the blocks and let's just show a regression that we can use. Okay. So this time, right leg comes forward again. Okay, so let's just say you're somebody like you feel limited in your leg, hip strength, and or your balance. You come to the same position, you just keep the blocks nearby, okay? So you're leaning forward, all right? Then you're going to bring your hands to the blocks. Your left toes are going to flip under, and then you can just start to pick up your left knee from here, all right? So you have a straight left knee. Right, and you might pause here. Okay, now two options. First option is to just reach your right arm out to a T. All right. Now you might say, hey, I'm good here. This is already hard. Okay. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can take both your hands to your quad. Right, and you just kind of hold yourself there. Okay. A progression is to reach your left hand forward. Maybe your right arm back. Okay, you're still keeping that arch out of your low back. And then if you eventually start to feel ready for the next level, you can bend that left knee closer to the ground. Okay, still leaning forward and not uprighting your spine. Okay, and then you can even do pumps here if that helps too. Yep, so you just bend the back knee and then straighten it. Right? And then whenever you're ready, Jenna, you can bring it down. Let's do the other side. Okay. So reach the left arm out. All right. If you get your balance, you put both hands on your left quad. You might start to reach the arms in opposite directions. All right. And then whatever you'd like to do with that back knee, maybe it's just an isometric hold. Maybe it's more of an active movement like you see now. Terrific. And then whenever you're ready, you can bring it down. Good. Upright your spine. Take the foot back. Take the blocks a little wider. And we'll just finish with a little bit of a coordination, get up, get down movement. So right leg goes forward, and then Jenna steps up. Yeah, and do the arms if you want. Then left leg steps back, and she changes legs. Other side. Right. Now this is under the circumstance that you could do the movements right before this comfortably for a while. So you want to be able to hold a lunge both with a straight back knee and a bent back knee for a while before you move to something like this. But it's also nice. You'll notice Jenna is doing this in a wide open space, so she's not next to anything that she could potentially fall onto. Right, and I think that's important when taking into account where you're going to do a movement practice. Let's do one more on the left. All right, and then bring your hands down. You can take a quick child's pose. And that's a wrap for today's movement. Thanks for watching.